Almaty, the largest city in Kazakhstan, is 1,200 kilometers southeast of Astana. Alma-Ata is its former name, and in Kazakh Alma means apple, while Ata is the word for grandfather. This name therefore signifies kindness. The city has always been famous for its upward apples. Just imagine, one apple could weigh more than a kilogram. An upward apple won the Grand Prix at the International Food Exhibition in Moscow 100 years ago, in 1913, setting a world record. In days gone by, anyone strolling along the streets of the city could grab an apple from the trees that grew almost everywhere. Today, this is not an option, but the streets remain charming, white and green with trees. It is interesting that despite the dynamic rhythms of the city, the passing cars and all the city noise, you can always hear birds singing. They seem to enjoy this green and sunny city. There are up to 1,596 hours of sunshine a year in Almaty. The average summer temperature is the same as that on the islands of Sri Lanka and Java. Winter here feels like being in the north of Norway. That's how varied and extreme the climate is in Almaty. If you happen to visit in spring or autumn, you will be able to experience the distinctness of the seasons. It is a unique opportunity.
У нас очень интересные перепады климатические, да? То есть
We have very interesting climate swings. Down in the valley there is summer, up the hills there is autumn, and higher up in the mountains there is winter. I read a book which said that Almaty Oblast is a unique place because a relatively small territory between the river Ili and the peaks of the Ili-Alatau mountains stretches across several climate zones, just like the territory from the Caspian Sea to the North Pole does. If you travel 70 kilometers from Lake Kapchigai to the top of the mountains, you would be able to take summer and winter photographs in a single day.
Вот эти вот 70 километров можно снять от лета на Капчагае до самой настоящей зимы в юге в один день.
In order to visit the attractions of Almaty and the surrounding area of the city, you only need to desire it, since you have a good choice of transport including taxis, hire cars, buses, trams, trolleybuses and the underground. The travel guide crew has decided to take a ride on a tram. These trams have run in the city since December 1st, 1937. So, our first stop, I want to introduce you to a major tourist attraction and the pride of the city, Almaty Zoo, one of the largest in the CIS. The zoo hosts more than 400 species, 28 of which are listed in the Red Book of Kazakhstan, while 71 species are in the Red Book of the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. You will find beautiful pink flamingos and graceful Bengali tigers here. Sango, the Bengali tiger, is the gentlest and kindest animal in the zoo. When left with a chicken or rabbit, he doesn't hurt them, and sometimes they live in his cage for months. He has one more characteristic. When fed, he rinses his meat in water first. He is quite an aesthete. The elephants Aruzhan and Lao are the most romantic couple in the zoo. When Lao hears music, he starts dancing. Of course, if only his girlfriend doesn't mind him doing so.
Арушка, самка у нас младшая, отдыхала, лежала на песочке у нас. Посетитель гулял.
Arushka was once resting on the sand when a drunken visitor threw a stone at her. She didn't hesitate a second and threw an empty bottle back at him. But the bottle only hit the fence. Our elephants do not like bad manners.
Не любят, когда вот с ними на таких отношениях.
Let's move on. What is good about a tram ride is that few people travel in this way, meaning there is always an empty seat. A very large number of Almaty residents prefer personal cars to public transport, and so the city is full of traffic. According to official data, about 1.5 million people live in Almaty, but according to some, the population is twice that. Almaty is the cultural and business center of Kazakhstan. Offices of major international organizations and local businesses can be found here. Almaty frequently hosts exhibitions, forums and fairs. There is no doubt that the city is one of the most popular holiday destinations for people from all over the country and for foreigners as well.
Алмата – самый большой город в нашей стране. И, естественно, самое большое количество туристов прибывает в наш город или проезжает через наш город.
Almaty is the biggest city in our country, receiving many visitors from everywhere. The city has 70 hotels, 14 movie theaters, 12 live theaters and 20 museums. We have brand-name attractions such as Medeo, Shimbulak and Koktebe. Currently, we are developing a new ski resort named Kokzhailao. We hope it will become an internationally known resort, attracting visitors from around the world.
Это большой новый современный курорт мирового уровня, который будет притягивать туристов не только наших Казахстан, но и из-за рубежа.
Those who have been to Almaty have certainly visited the park of the 28 Panfilov heroes. Here is the famous war memorial, the Avenue of Remembrance and the Eternal Flame. The park was opened on the eve of the 30th anniversary of the victory in the Second World War. There is a beautiful cathedral in the park. This Russian Orthodox cathedral was built mostly of wood and, according to a legend, was constructed without the use of a single nail. Its architecture is representative of the Russian Tsar era. It also survived the earthquake of 1910. Our next stop is an attraction that has an interesting story. It is a restaurant that its fans lovingly used to call Almatushka. It was a place where the so-called golden youth gathered in the past.
Это историческое место. Историческое место не только, допустим, для нас, вот сегодня существующих.
This is a place of historical significance for all the people in Kazakhstan. The restaurant has played a part in almost every government official's life. This is where celebrations upon passing university exams, taking the oath for military service and other such events were held. I met my wife in this restaurant during one such celebration. I was working in Germany at that time and was on leave in Almaty when I met her here.
Студенты сдали экзамены, вот приехали, и я приехал в отпуск, тогда я работал за границей в Германии, приехал и встретил. Это ресторан для меня судьбоносный.
The owners of the restaurant have tried to preserve the atmosphere of the times when the place was one of the top spots in the city. They still offer food of European, Asian and Japanese origin.
Алматинцы и гости нашего города.
Citizens and guests have noted Almaty's unique microclimate due to its special location, especially if you drive to the west or east towards Ilia-Latau. Those ancient people who originally settled here noted the fact too, and therefore stayed for aesthetic reasons among others. The peaks here are most beautiful. And now we change from the train to the cable car in order to get to the highest point of the city, Koktebe. There are three typical ways to get to Koktebe: by cable car, bus or on foot. A beautiful view of the city is available from the top of the hill. Here you can buy handmade souvenirs, try national food, make a wish at the apple fountain, or sing next to the Beatles. I have often seen in the movies how people get to the top of Koktebe and the whole city becomes visible at a glance. And now that I'm here, I'm impressed and totally agree with the fact that the view from the Koktebe of Almaty is breathtaking.
Almaty is beautiful, the mountains are fantastic, and the weather here is great. It's either sunny or snowy, which is great. And you like the mountains as well, don't you? We like going up Koktebe and Modeo and just seeing the city as a whole, seeing the city from up high. It's really lovely.
Coming down from the picturesque mountain of Koktebe will bring us back into the city in a few minutes. Almaty is easy to get around. All you need to know is which way is up and which way is down. So coming down from Koktebe, we get to the Stick Avenue. Uphill towards the mountains, you can get to Medeo, the famous skating ring, and Shimbulag, the ski resort. But we will invite you there in winter. For now, let's go down the avenue towards the Soviet architectural gem, the Kazakhstan Hotel, the first 26-floor skyscraper in the city built in a seismically active zone. Let's move on. The next stop is a special place in the city. Almaty Arbat. This is a famous pedestrianized area, an incredibly cozy part of the city. You will find a variety of boutiques, cafes and galleries here. It is also the bohemian part of the city where you can meet city musicians, artists and actors. Arbat is located along the road called Zhibek Zhili, which in Kazakh means Silk Road.
Вот это такой пятачок, такой демократический пятачок.
It is a very free area in the city where everybody comes out for a walk, mainly in the evening. As soon as the sun sets behind the central department store, the street, all day bathed in sunshine, now becomes covered by shade. And from around 8 o'clock in the evening onwards, the festivities begin throughout the whole summer. Everybody comes here just for a stroll. Sergei has been working on Arbat for more than 10 years and considers himself an integral part of the culture of this marvelous place.
Есть в Алмате такой художник Уткин. Он немой. Живет он, кстати, где-то здесь. Я не знаю, в каком доме, но где-то вот.
There is an artist in Almaty. Utkin is his last name. He is dumb. He lives nearby. Once I visited Malinovsky's gallery and was looking at the paintings and suddenly saw this fountain, our city department store, a flamingo and a white figure. Utkin approached me there and I realized that the white figure in the painting was me.
В это время подходит Уткин. Я говорю, я понял, это я. Да, спасибо.
It's getting dark. The travel guide crew invites you to take a midnight stroll in the Central State Museum. We have succeeded in reaching every corner of the museum to see every exhibit, visit handmade jewelry fair and enjoy a concert. Our night at the museum has ended. But the city does not sleep yet, and we would like to invite you to share the fun and happy vibes with us further.